about MYOB Advanced. So I get to give you a bit of a demo and show you how Advanced works and helps you with your finance in focus. So quick PowerPoint presentation, because that's the boring bits, and we'll just go through a few slides, and then we'll get into actually looking at the product and seeing a few things in action. All right. First and foremost, MYOB Advanced plays a crucial role in robust management and strategic decision-making for organizations. We all know this, we use the product, we love the product. What do I mean by this? Well, let's have a look at a few things. In terms of comprehensive data management, it's so flexible, so customizable, so many features within Advanced. It incorporates all the functionality, so you can basically have every one of your processes and workflows in one single integrated platform. So that gives you one place, one source of truth, one place to keep all your data. We also can streamline your processes. And how do we do that? Well, we do that with automation of invoices, emailing invoices, overdue invoice reminders. We can set up a whole bunch of automated tasks, including maybe your foreign currency exchange rate revaluations, all those boring things that need to be done that take time that could be automated. We can do that. We've also got our e-commerce and CRM integrations with Shopify, Salesforce. We've got our built-in CRM. You can also use EDI integrations to get a whole lot of things talking to each other and keeping the data in sync between your systems. So we can streamline them any which way you like. Efficient resource allocation. Well, we're giving our users the ability to manage their tasks, what they need to do. So through the use of licenses, through the use of role-based security and all of that, people can focus on what they need to do and not get bogged down with all the variety of things in the system, because it's a big system. If anybody's got a full user and an administrator role, you'll see that there's lots of stuff happening in the system. So we can simplify that per user through the use of role-based security and making users more efficient. Enhanced compliance and risk management. Well, we've got all our audit tracking, audit controls within the system. It manages and maintains industry standards in terms of our financial rules. You can monitor your compliance through, again, audit tracking, financial reporting. We've got data privacy settings on there, so anything can go, and we can ensure that what we're giving out to the wider world is protecting our business. Right. And of course, the system is scalable and adaptable. So as your business grows, the system will grow with you. In order for this to happen efficiently, I recommend working with your partner, your consultant that implemented you. Let them become your trusted advisor. They know what the system can do, because I can guarantee you're probably only using about a percentage of the system. I don't even think, maybe 50%, if that, in some businesses. So there's plenty of room to grow. Talk to your consultants, get your trusted advisor on board, and work with them to build the system. Right. And of course, we empower managers with the tools and insights to manage and grow your businesses effectively. Okay. Right. Enough about PowerPoints, etc. Let's have a look at Advanced. Let's see how we can do a few of these things. So in terms of giving managers the information that they need to best manage your businesses, what's the best way to do that? Well, we've got dashboards, right? Everybody likes to see a bit of a snapshot of information as it now, as it when, and look at your exceptions. Dashboards are great for like exception reporting, seeing what issues do I need to work on. There's a whole bunch of built-in databases, dashboards within the system. Just find your dashboards menu item, and there are some dashboards in here. These comes pretty much standard with the system. obviously not all of them will be applicable to your business. So you just got to find which one works for you. If I look at my AR dashboard, so if I'm an accounts receivable clerk, this would probably be my dashboard that I get set up as my default dashboard. So when I log in, that's what I'm confronted with, and I can have a quick snapshot and look at, oh, what needs work today? Well, in my demo data, I've had no payments this month, the 27th of the month. I think I need to get on the phone and try and get some people to phone me. Particularly when I look at, oh, look at all those invoices in 90 days. Somebody's been sleeping. So, it's just a quick visual glance. I can now drill into that and very quickly see which of those invoices are sitting in my 90 days and when they were due, and I can get on the phone and phone or do something to get my customers to pay me. Information at my fingertips. All right. Today's session is very much about how financial information. Oh, sorry, before I get into that, let's have a quick, I forgot about this one. Side panels is another way of giving us information at our fingertips. So in this particular sample of the screen, I have a list of opportunities. From my opportunity, I can click on this. I can see it was supposed to close in September, but oh, well, it's one. So there's a bit of nothing that needs to be done there. I can have a look here and go, okay, well, without going into it and drilling into it, my side panel, I can have a look and open that and see that I can got my opportunity when it decides to come up. And in my opportunity, if I had activities against it, I can review the activities there. I can review the details of it. I can review my quotes against it. If I click on my sales orders side panel, I can see what sales orders were created from it, what status it was. There was a shipment that's gone out with regards to this. So looking at that, I can go, okay, well, this customer must have received their goods, right? And again, any other opportunities for that customer is in my side panel as well. Side panels are 100% customizable. So any type of dashboard, generic inquiry, report, or anything like that, we can link into a side panel and run just based on the parameters that are showing in my list here. I'm showing you opportunities, but we're obviously not only limited to opportunities. These can be done on pretty much almost every screen, including the actual sales order screen or the transactional screen itself. Projects, sales orders, purchase orders, anything. Wherever you can think about putting a side panel, we probably can do it. All right. Okay, talking about finance, how do we use Advanced to give us robust information in terms of our financials? One of the real good key ways to do that is through the use of segmented sub-accounts. Sorry, not segmented keys. So in our sub-accounts, chart of accounts, sub-account structure, we can define a list of sub-accounts. Now, to get to that definition, we want to set up our structure of our sub-account, and we can determine that what do we want to report on. Now, it's either a specific report or a combination of them. So maybe we want to track transactions and track expenditure and track anything by various segments within our business. In this particular instance, we've got a sub-account that's segmented into 4 sections. One is region, one is department, one is my programs or services that I offer, and one I've just kind of left there as a maybe in the future for future use. All right. Within my sub-account segments, I can drill into it, and I'm going to pick on department because that's what I've planned for and prepared for. And I can go into my values, and I can now define my sub-accounts segments within that department level. And I can do that for all of my different sub-accounts. So that if I look at my programs and services, those are my programs and services. All right. Now, what do you do with this information? Well, we really want to get that out in perhaps a reporting structure. So one way of doing that is by using what we call unit sets. Now, I say one way because there's multiple ways of doing all of this, but I'm just going to show you unit sets today. And if you need something different to this, we can always just chat with your consultant and I'm sure they'll be able to help you. So from a quick, brief structure of this, I've set up a unit set for my department. Again, I've given them its code and I've linked it to my data source. So the data source being my sub-account structure here. All the question marks are masks, so it takes the place of. So that first 3 segments of my sub-account could be anything. And then for when I'm reporting in this, I only want those 2 segments there being my department segment. And this is going to be my 00 segment because that's my default one. My front of house one is my CC and my HR is 21 and kitchen is 30 and operations is 20. So you can set those up in any kind of combination. So maybe you're using multiple segments to define what you want in terms of what your department is. In this case, I'm just using that secondary segment. Okay, that's how you would configure your unit set. Before I get into showing you how that actually presents on a report, I want to just show you a few other bits and pieces around that as well, so that when we look at this report, we've got a complete viewpoint from all the things I'm going to show today. And the next thing I'm going to talk about is ledgers. Right. We can have multiple ledgers within our system, one being our actual ledger, because that's our financial ledger. That's where the be all and end all, that's where our data comes into. That's what we're going to use to report on from a financial perspective. And that is what you're going to pay tax on, and etc. We also then have other ledgers. So we've got budget ledgers and statistical ledgers. Budget ledgers, you can see I've got 3 set up in the system. I've got a budget, a revised budget, and a forecast budget. I can have as many of those budgets as I like, and I can manage as many of those, and then pick a budget and put it onto my reporting structure. Statistical ledgers is where it gets really interesting, because these I can actually record different non-financial data, but within my financial data system, so that I can use those to report on them. For instance, like if I was managing my vehicles expenses and I ran a pool of vehicles and I wanted to manage how many kilometers they do in a month, I can capture that information into a statistical ledger. If I'm running a retirement village, for instance, and I need to manage my occupancy levels, I can set my occupancy as a journal and just journal in a quantity of what my occupancy was at the end of each month. These are movable targets, but they can, they're moving values, and they can be different at every month. But I might want to compare those values from a historical point of view. So when I run the report as at now, I need what was it at the end of last month type of thing. So we can bring in through a statistical ledger in that. For this demo example, what we've done is we set up a number of invoices, basically. So we created a little generic inquiry that counts the number of invoices that we've done for every period in the throughout the year. So it's just a basic count of transactions. Those are my number of invoices. And then I'm going to put that into a journal transaction. So if I go into my journal transactions and see, there's my stat journal. So you can see I've got stat journals in here. And if I go into one, it's writing to my statistical ledger, and I can see my quantity of invoices being 26 on that particular month. As an accountant, you might be going, oh, that journal doesn't balance. That journal doesn't balance because I've only got a credit total and no debit total. Well, it's a statistical ledger, so it doesn't need to balance. Only anything going into the actual ledger needs to balance. So this is just a way of recording a static number that I can now use in my financial reports. All right. And again, I'll show you how that all comes together in about 2 minutes or so. Let's first and foremost have a look at our budgets. All right. Budgeting within Advanced. We have got a way of creating a budget. And it's a very simple, basic way of creating budgets. I always say with budgets, we can make it as complex as you like because we've got a whole bunch of tree structures and stuff like that. But it's a whole lot easier just to keep it simple, right? So if we look at just creating a sort of simple budget, I can pick up which financial year I'm wanting to create my budget for. And I'm going to preload some articles, which means I'm going to now select a few information. What branch am I bringing it through from? What ledger do I want to bring it through from? So I can actually pick up a previous budget ledger. So if I was doing a revised budget, I want to copy from my original budget and into my revised budget, or I can just, and for this instance, I'm just going to copy from my actual. I'm going to pick a financial year and multiply it, because if I want, and in this case, I'm multiplying by 20%, so that it goes up in terms of what it marks it up, basically. All right. In the next screen, I get to choose which accounts I'm going to go, which accounts I'm budgeting from. So again, I can add to this at any point in time. So to start with, maybe I just want to pick a subset of my GL accounts that we're going to bring through. Okay, sorry, excuse my cat that's just decided to come and sit by me. All right. Sub-account masks, as we've spoken about before, question marks means it's going to bring through everything. It's not too concerned. All right, and then we go next, and then we bring through those and finish it. It's going to bring through my examples of my the budget, and it has brought through what I've marked it up to be. I can see that's my amount for the year. This is what's been distributed, and I can see how it's been distributed along each of the months throughout the year. I can now click on my distribute button at the top here, and I can choose to distribute proportionally to the previous year based on the financial year that I'm in, or I can choose to manage it, proportion them evenly. And if I choose apply to all articles in this node, it's going to do all my budget accounts. If I don't do that, it's only going to distribute along the line that I'm ticked on. So you can choose multiple or one at a time and distribute them all in a different way. I'm just going to go over all of them so that you can see how it's just spread my action amount evenly throughout the year. All right. Of course, those are just sort of certain ways that you can do it within Advanced. And of course, you can always export it out to Excel, manipulate it in Excel, and import it back again. Right, so that's creating budgets. We've spoken about budgets, we've spoken about statistical ledgers, we've spoken about unit sets, and setting up our sub-accounts. How does all that information flow together, and what can I do with it? Basically, we want to do all of that setup so that we can have a P&L report or a financial report of some kind. So if I run my profit and loss actual versus budget now, we should have a report that will show me actual versus budget. When we get there we go. So there's our actual amounts throughout the year, and there's our budgeted amounts. And if I click on, I don't know why that hasn't come through. Lovely. If I click on my unit sets, I can now choose to run for all, remember those unit sets? And I can now break my report down based on my different departments that I have run it for, and the budgets for each of those departments, which I don't think I've got in this demo. So there we go. So it's basically just giving me each of my individual operations a profit and loss through it for each of those. All good. And that's it for me. Thank you, Stephen.